Hello, today I will show you how to use Kala Vedic Astrology software. Here I have the program open. I'm going to open Chart of the Moment. And when you first get this program, these screens here on the right will be blank. So we want to fill those in. Everything else will be preset. But these we can choose by right-clicking on the screen, and then we have many options of which to choose from. You can leave the screen blank, or you can right-click and pick something. For instance, if we want to see Navamsa, that's there. If you want to see dignities and the Vargas of the planets, that's there too. These are the ones that I like to use. Shot Bolograph is another one. The Samsa. Transits, current transits are here too. So you want to customize to what you're interested in. Aspects to Baba Chalita House. That's another chart that I like. Okay. Now the main display on the left can be altered by pushing the F2 sign, or rather the F2 button, to South Indian, Western Wheel, or North Indian, F2. Another main option that you get is customizing Kala through Options and Customize Kala, which will bring you to this screen where if you want to use Ernst Wilhelm's recommendation, the creator of this program, who uses Tropical Rasi with Sadhira Nakshatra, you may do so. Or you can use other traditional Vedic Ainamsas, which are the other two, Astroved and Dara, will give you Lahiri and so on. So let's go ahead and go with Ernst for now, and choose black and white printouts. We'll skip this form. Use current location. So you see how a lot of my defaults have been changed. Now, instead of the glyph, we have letters for planets. So I like the glyphs, so I'm going to change the glyphs, change it to glyphs. So we'll do that by going to and then font options. And here we use Kala glyphs for planets and Rasis. And everything else seems to be the same. I use rather large fonts and table headings and large icons as far as planets and signs. So clicking that will return us to glyphs for signs and planets. So your glyphs may be smaller. I go for larger ones, which you can change the size here. For instance, signs and planet glyphs. Okay. So more screens. One of the main screens that I really use here is the Muhurta screen, which is this screen, which shows you the whole month, month by month, and will show you what day will have either negative quality or a positive quality, or yellow to be neutral, mixed. And I really use this screen a lot. It was my main interest in buying this program. To me, this is very useful. It's set to general guidelines. You can click on this bar and go to more specific guidelines. Let's say you want to do business. You want a day for buying, and it'll refresh. Usually it's the same. Sometimes there's a difference between the general guidelines and specific ones. Naturally, we would like there to be differences. There is a small difference, but a lot of times it's the same. So I tend to just use general guidelines, and I'm happy with the results I get from that. You can see that the night of the 13th, Sunday the 13th, the nighttime especially, it's very challenging. And I find that when it's like this, completely red, everything goes bad. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Basically, well, I mean, you get the idea. Here, the 23rd, actually the 25th, it's very good. Of course, other things will come into play, like dashas and transits that can also have influence, but I find this screen to be quite useful. And I like to look at the result of the, right here, this line where it says result. So that changes pretty frequently, every 20 minutes or so. I'm going to change it using the Nadi. I think it was a Nadi or Muhurta, one of those two. Ernst said, if I remember correctly, that the bottom line here is the most important one, the VTN, which is reflected here on this line. So you can see a red one has been chosen, annihilation. But if you go to a green one, the bottom one will go to auspicious. And then moving forward in lesser importance. So you begin with the bottom one. And notice the bottom one is the one that has yellow sometimes. So this line and then the other ones. Okay. Other screens. The other one I really use a lot is the animated screen. The transit animated screen. And I'm going to set to Tajika aspects. From here you can move forward and back through the days, years, times, even current time. Right here I'm going forward by the day. And in this chart you can set it to Chandra Lagna, which is moon rising, Aries Lagna, or Jama Lagna, which is the regular rising sign. Now one thing I like about this wheel is that you can see the Western style house cusps exactly where they fall on the chart, in this case the wheel. And it's customizable to the house system that you want. Here I have it set to Campanus, and the other popular one is Placidus. But here it will show you exactly where it falls. In the new version of Kala, it will actually give you the number, and it will give another point here in the middle with exact degree of the house cusp, so you can better follow along when a planet will influence it. But this is the older version of Kala, and the newer version will also have more options here too. But I have that on another computer, and today I'm using the older version. I pay special attention to the moon for these transits, although you look at everything too. The moon is the one that changes most rapidly and is somewhat of a trigger. And I also like to look at Bina Ashtaka for the moon. Here, Bina Ashtaka is at 7. I went to 7. Let's go back. So, moon transiting this person's 11th house, or Cancer, generates 7 Bina Ashtaka, which is very good. Only higher is Jupiter at 8. But that stays in one sign for a whole year, if I remember correctly. So, looking at moon's Bina Ashtaka will give you a better test as far as Ashtaka Varga. Between this screen and the Muhurta screen, that's a big part of making prediction, along with Dasha and those three. Okay. Related to this is the transit hit list, which you find under Tools and Hit List. And here I've already set to my preferences, which I'm going to look at the transiting planets except the moon, because it moves so quickly, it generates too much information. I use them all conjunct, opposition, all the minor ones. The ones that are clickable here, I have them set. So we're going to look at transiting these planets are making all these aspects to natal planets and house cusps, Baba Chalita, if you want to use that. I'm just going to go ahead and turn that off. So we're only going to look at transits to natal planets now. And I'm going to set today's date, copy the date, and move it forward 1 month. So I'm going to move it forward 1 month. And now screen, we'll get the screen. I do print it, but now we're just going to look at the screen. And that'll give you what transits are happening on what days in a list, and it'll give you the specific time, the time that the transit will be taking place. Not just the day. It'll give you the hour and the minute, assuming you have an accurate birth time. So the hour and the minute, and that's good because sometimes you'll have a transit and it may happen in the morning. I mean, the exact aspect will happen in the morning or at night, and this will show you that. And a quick glance will reveal transits that are more important than others. Some of them are not that important. Some of them will happen once every few years or a couple times a year, while others are happening quite frequently. For instance, Venus trine Jupiter, that's a nice one. It's going to happen in the AM hours of the 10th. So if you look at a transit chart and it says that Venus transit Jupiter is happening on the 10th, well, the stronger effect is going to be on the 9th, because that's when it was building. And it happened just a couple of hours into the 10th. So for this transit, you see, will be stronger the day before. Alright, so between this, to me, this chart here is also gold, as well as the Muhurta chart. Okay, those are really the main ones that I use. The other ones are the Dasha screens, of course, which you get them here. I go to the third level, Pratyantar Dasha. And then you can play with other dashas by clicking on the bar, for instance, or Yogini Dasha for those who are using Yogini Dasha. It's here as well. You can go to the 5th level, or just the 1st level, 2nd level, 3rd level. Another screen that I like is the Dasha and Varga screen, or Dasha and Varga, I should say, which is a screen that shows you all of the Varga charts at once. And this is it right here. Alright. Another screen that I use a lot is the Jaimini screen. And this is the Jaimini screen. So here I'm going to go to Chara Dasha, which is the Jaimini Dasha, the main one. And I'm going to look at the one that Ernst has devised. So I find really good results using Chara Dasha. I use many dashas. This is one of them that I really like. And if you want to take a look at K and Aral's version, you may do so, and so on. So Karanavamsa Dasha is another Jaimini Dasha. But this is a Jaimini screen. You can see the Atma Karakas, or the Karakas rather, and very useful. Akala has a lot of other features. For instance, the transit calendar feature is pretty neat. You'll get a month view, like a calendar, with important dates that Kala has identified as being relevant somehow. I use this as well. And other features of Kala that I use include the Varshafala screen, which is the yearly report, solar return report, which I like a lot, which has its own Dasha system, as well as the compatibility reports, where you can look at compatibility between two people or things. Let's look at one. Here's a compatibility chart, for instance. I use this too. And other ones that I use have been the yoga screens, where you can get a list of yogas that are in a horoscope. And these are a lot of fun to read through. There's a bunch of them. I mean, all of these have yoga reports. I mean, everything under this yoga is basically yoga reports. And those are a lot of fun to read too. So, Kala has lots of other features features that I'm not familiar with, or that I simply don't use because I don't know how to, or I have my hands full with the features that I have showed you. If I were to criticize Kala, I'd say that it's lacking location astrology module, and also Kala tends to crash quite a bit. And this tendency to crash I've observed in many different computers that I use, but still is still worth using in my opinion for me. Another thing is the Kala's color scheme is not all that customizable. There is color options, but it doesn't let me choose to create colors for the different elements of a sign elements. For instance, I would like all the earth signs to be brown and all the fire signs to be red, but I'm not able to get those results. Location astrology module, astrocartography. That's pretty much it. Everything else is a lot of fun here.